a review of an Anet ET5X. The short of it is, don't buy this printer, it's rubbish. First of all, we'll start with the actual printer itself. When it turned up, it came with a micro SD card and it had a text file on it saying, use Cura for slicing, but if you want to run it from a PC to the printer, use Repeater Host. It turns out you don't use Repeater Host. I've been in touch with the manufacturer support and they said only use Cura. Repeater Host is quite faulty on it, so that was no good. It came with a micro SD card and it had some sample files on. So I thought, oh, it's already got files on, I'll copy some across. They wouldn't work. It would only work from the micro SD card after formatting the micro SD card. So obviously I had to back up the drivers and everything before it would actually work. Now it did come with a sheet on it. As you can see, I would do the rocket vase, however you want to pronounce it, and it stuck and it wouldn't come off and it broke. That's glue from one of the other prints. Now you saw the Anet label on it, and that's good for the staying on the prints. This is one of my shitty prints because it's not very good. Now it's got a capacitive sensor for the bed leveling. You have to level the bed every single time, even sometimes between prints it's that bad. Now the other issue I've had is the build quality when it turned up. This was actually hanging off. I didn't realise as much. That was the only thing I'd not checked while doing it. I've had to adjust the wheels on the gantry. I've had to put that in there, the bearing there, because this wheel bearing is too big and so the belt actually sticks out the gantry. This end I've had to move it slightly so it's level in the middle. This belt, this part on the stepper motor was too low, so when it was getting over at this end, it was actually making a right back it, so I've had to lift that up about 2 mil. If you have the filament above it where the bracket supplied is, a lot of people are saying it catches on there and wears it out, so that's no good. From cold, sometimes, the last few times, the capacitive sensor has worked when you put your finger under it, but if you try to level it on manual leveling, it doesn't detect the bed and it grinds the stepper motors. That's happening more times now. I've gone back to glass, but I use the Scotch blue tape. This is on offer currently at B&Q, 3 rolls for £18. But generally, it's done some prints, don't get me wrong, they're not amazing, but with the issues I'm having with the levelling, it's a complete pain in the arse, to be honest. And it took a long time for them to admit that Repeater Host, after so many messages, wouldn't actually work. Now this, I've had 3D printers for 3 years. In fact, I've still got one that's 3 years old and it still runs. But the lead screws aren't lead screws, they're normal screws. It's one of those cheap £90 ones off eBay. But in the settings, it says it's an ET5. None of the firmware updates have installed for some reason. Unless this has got the latest one, that's the only reason why. It uses supposedly 360 watts of power maximum. The other issue I've got is the cable for the heated bed. I've had to literally hold it back because it catches on here and stops it from excuse me, moving. I put the connectors in and some have popped out. Luckily I caught it and managed to put it back in. It has this tape on it that actually holds a Bowden tube, but I found it was holding it too tight, so I've had to set it free. And also it pulls on this a lot if you're printing anything the sides of the bed, so that's been adjusted. Excuse me. And what I found as well is it does have problems keeping both stepper motors in sync with each other, and that has been a big issue for me. and support's been useless, absolutely useless. Now, when I had the issue and they've been in touch today, what they've said is, for one of the issues, is only use manual leveling. So what's the point in having the capacitive sensor if you've got to stick to manual leveling? It still uses the capacitive sensor for the Z height, but you still have to turn the dials. So people have been saying do the manual and then go on to an automatic test. But again, it doesn't store the information. So every time you start it, you've got to go in and level the bed. Now the HC Maker 7 I used to have, that was the basic one. Exact same size as this. That were £250 off eBay about 2 years ago, something like that. I've given away. And that, I could get quite a few prints out of that without having to level it up again. And so, yeah, it's not good. I've had to adjust a lot of these. The one, I think it's eccentric, what it's called on it, to get it to try and stay level. But I struggle with it daily, and it's not a nice experience using the printer. Not a nice experience at all. And let's have a look. Show you some of the prints I've managed to get it to do. Now this one was done, I think it was 0.3 or 0.4 layer height when it gets in focus, my camera. Oh, there we go. I think it was a 0.3 layer height, so I'll give it a try so it prints quicker. And that is absolutely shocking, as you can see. Now I did it at the 0.2 that you normally use a 3D printer at. It's not too bad, it's got a few fuck-ups on the overhangs. But yeah, it's not bad. Now the filament that it comes with is the black one, which I printed the massive flexi dinosaurs off with. But I'm finding it's quite a fragile filament. I've got a grey one as well, what I bought for my ET5X. Now here's a small dinosaur. And again, the coating off the bed is coming off. But this one was done at, I think it was 360 times the size. 360% bigger. As you can see, it's quite a bit bigger. But yeah, some prints come out quite decent, but it's just the complete ball ache of having to bed level and the two sides not being even most of the time. Now if you get the Pro version, it has the quieter stepper motor drivers on it. But if you buy this version, you can actually buy the main board. I don't know if it's gone up, but it was currently retailing at £36.99 plus shipping. And that's from I think it's the Czech Republic. So at least it'll not ever have any import duty. And that's direct from the Anet shop. But that's look at it, it's 400 height and 300 by 300. It can't print the full 300, it probably do about 280 square. And sometimes when I tell it to go up just to see how high the gantry will go, when it's got to 400, sometimes it grinds the stepper motors, even though there's probably about this much gap between the head and the top, so that's a bit strange. Here I'm currently printing off an Xbox 360 Connect wall mount, but when it works, it's not too bad, and you can speed it up. I'm currently running it at 200%, as you can see on the device. Because for some reason, even though I've got it set at 100 millimeters a second or whatever it is, I can't remember what the correct setting is on Cura, it still prints rather slow, and this print normally would take 4 hours. Where I've always noticed Repeated House are generally quicker at doing prints, even at the same layer height of 0.2. Now that code is just to get you to the Anet's website. The other thing I've found, even with the Bowden tube in correctly and checked by taking the nozzle off, you get quite a few times it's doing the grinding on the extruder. It can't get the filament in, which sometimes it misses. On the black case that I did for the, if you can see, it's quite bad, that, to be honest. This part of it was because the even though I'd levelled the bed with a piece of paper, it was bad at this top corner. But again, I'd levelled it with a piece of paper, so it's quite thin, so that flaked off. But yeah, I wouldn't pay 217, or what that was in a Black Friday sale, so that's more expensive. They do a different one without automatic bed levelling, and it's about £100 cheaper for the same size. I think it's the Anet A8 Plus, it's called, I think. And that's a very similar, but you've got to build that yourself, where this was in 3 pieces. It came with a bottom, the head wasn't mounted, and the this part of the gantry wasn't mounted. So you've got the T-nuts, I'll call them here, on both sides, and then 2 more there, and then you've got 2 more going in the bottom, so that's not too bad. Also, what I found is the warranty sticker falls off, which I find quite strange indeed. But yeah, I wouldn't personally recommend the machine. It does print, it's annoying, but when I know obviously 3D printers have the issues, but like the build quality, having to do that to get the belt to sit in the gantry and bits hanging off, yeah, I get you have to adjust the wheels. That's normal for a 3D printer. So I do understand they don't run 100% perfect all the time, but this has been a fucking nightmare. The day I got it at 12:30 in the afternoon, and I was up till 4 AM trying to get a decent print out of it after adjusting various things, once I found out the issues with different parts of it. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it at all. I'd get a cheaper one. I'd go for the Ender 3, or if you need the bigger size, this is the R range. And good luck, and thanks for watching.